This episode is brought to you by Bellatoris Publishing, bringing stories to the world that last forever. So much here. It's like a commentary on capitalism. It's a commentary on we work, the minions work for the big fat cats that line their pockets, and they get more powerful, and we are part of the problem because we're just part of the system. And it's gaslighting at its peak. The one thing he does say, which is true, is a pyramid's strength is in its foundations. It just is such a good speech. I mean, it's a terrible speech, but it's also so chilling, isn't it?
I really like is the part when he said the pyramid strength and the foundations and the peak, because basically he's telling yes, there are people with a lot of power, but was all of you the one who given that power? And you should do something to take that power back.
Shall we read the speech?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things fantasy fiction.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sian.
And today we'll continue our read along of The Will of the Many with the chapters 11 to 23. And just heads up, we might use strong language and explore adult themes.
You can rest easy that there will be no spoilers from beyond chapter 23. From now on, consider us your buddy readers.
And before we start, quick reminder, if you love our content and want even more, plus early access to episodes, monthly bonus content, and completely ad-free experience, you can become one of our supporters. You can try it for free now and cancel anytime. For the best deal, visit faithfullyfantasy.com or just subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for instant access. Don't miss out and unlock the extra content waiting for you.
Also, if you're enjoying the show, please take a second to rate us wherever you're listening. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all of it. It helps more fantasy lovers find us, and it's one of the easiest ways to support what we do. A quick tap and you've made our day.
Okay then, let's dive into...
Wait, what just happened? Vis steps into the city, expecting sophistication, maybe a little grandeur. Instead, he gets suffocating luxury and the hierarchy looming over every street like it owns the place. Ulkiskor settles him into the villa, which is less home and more political pressure cooker, and introduces him to Linistia, the sextus assigned to whip him into shape. She's sharp, disciplined, and very much not on board with Ulkiskor's secret adoption plan, especially since Relucia, his wife, is still in the dark. Cadmos, the villa's housekeeper and a former academic, sizes Viz up with the wary patience of someone who's had too many students sneak out after curfew. He makes sure Viz is settled, but he's watching him closely. Viz quickly discovers his room is magically locked, which frankly feels rude, but he still manages to slip out and overhear Ulkiskor and Linistia discussing murders, Senate blood tests, and other deeply unsettling topics. Cadmos catches him and escorts him back without a word, which is somehow worse than him yelling. Linistia assesses Viz's education and decides it's lacking. She assigns him an intense study regimen, then later tests him by attacking him in the middle of the night. No warning, no warm-up, just surprise, your tutor has no eyes. She brings him to the labyrinth, a training maze modelled after the Academy's own, and teaches him how to shift its walls using will stones. It's brutal, but effective. 16 days in, Senator Claudius arrives. He challenges Ulkiskor's theories about Siro's death and suggests Viz train with his daughter, Equa. Linistia immediately warns Viz not to trust him and hints that Viridius may have been involved in Siro's death, a suspicion Ulkiskor shares, though he has no proof whatsoever. Viz and Equa attend the Jovan festival, where Viz slips away to meet Estevan, or Melia, the leader of the Anguis. Estevan tries to recruit him. Viz refuses. Sadosha responds by cutting his chest and handing him the bloodied knife like it's a business card. At the Naumachia, The arena's willpower collapses. Esteban condemns the crowd, explosions erupt, and chaos takes over. Vis realizes the bloodied knife protects him, uses it to save Iqua, and confronts Esteban, who forces Vis's hand to kill him. Vis ends up saving thousands and is hailed a hero by the Senate, though he's barely had time to process any of it. Ulquiorra finally shares what he knows about Siro's death and his suspicions about Viridius. With 2 weeks left before Vis leaves for the academy, a Senate physician arrives under the guise of checking his recovery. Lenistia asks why he's risked everything, and Vis insists he acted on principle. She doubts that mindset will serve him well at the academy, but she doesn't push further. And that's where we leave him, bruised, overwhelmed, politically entangled, and somehow still expected to keep up with his studies.
So many things happen already in this chapter, and I can't believe that people say that the best part of this book is in the academy. So
I know.
I don't know what's going to happen in the academy.
It gets so good. So many new names, so many new people. The world's expanded because he's finally left Latens, and we're just getting to see a bit more, and like kind of the capital city, which is where he is blown away by the fact that there's like skyscrapers and will-powered carriages and like a super modern city.
Yeah, I can imagine there's going to be like a completely different world if you compare where he comes from.
Yeah. And we meet Lenistia, we meet Cadmos, we meet Iqua. We find out, quite a bit more about the people that he's going to be part of his new life as the adoptee of Quintus.
Time now for Confirm, Curse, or Completely Unhinged.
The part of the show where you either get to bank those bragging rights or have a good laugh at yourself for being way too wild with your previous theories. What were they from last week? Did you get any right?
Well, kind of. I said last time that Sadosha knows this because maybe the family works with him or something. I think in that one I was maybe wrong, because I think I say that Sadosha was working or the family of Sadosha was working for the parents of this, but turns out she was working with Esteban. There was the king,
former aide,
like a right hand or something like this.
So it wasn't Sadosha, but you did kind of get the family link.
Yes. I think another one that I think by now I can get it like totally wrong. Something that I didn't say last week, but I was thinking that Cadmos, he was maybe with the Angus.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. We didn't meet him last week. So when you first met him in this set of chapters, you thought that he might be with the Angus. Okay.
Yes, but after he found out that this was the one who killed the leader, he seen that he changed with him. So obviously he is not with them, because he feel like really happy that this happens.
Yeah. He was over the moon, wasn't he? And all of a sudden loved him and accepted him as part of the family. Yeah. So this is the challenge with doing 10 chapters at a time, in that there will be theories that come to you in like chapter 11, and then you read to chapter 23 and you find it's wrong. Yeah. So I do think we should still talk about those things. So I'm glad you said that. Any more?
No, I think that's it for me. What about you?
So I have very little to add to this section, because obviously I have already read the book. I am picking up loads more though, and I've got loads to talk about today. There are a few things that we could have preempted last week, or you could have preempted. I obviously already knew they were going to happen, but we had the promise from Sadosha that if Vis didn't come and find them at the Naumachia, there'd be trouble. So you could have predicted that we would go to the Naumachia. We would find a way to get there. We also could have talked about the fact that Vis would obviously leave Latens and go to the home of Ulquiorra. So there's some things that are kind of obvious. And I think there's probably more of those this week in terms of like what we're going to see in the next chunk of chapters that's spelled out, kind of like going to the academy and obviously all those. Yeah, next week is the week that we get to go to the academy.
I really can't wait to see what is going to be all the stuff that's going to happen in this academy. Yes, so let's get into screaming, crying, throwing God swords.
Our seasoned listeners will know that this is the part of the show where we talk about how we're feeling, what we think about the book, and ask any questions we have about the characters and the plot from this week's read-along. So how are you feeling about The Will of the Many so far?
The fact that I remember that you tell me that all the stuff that happened in the academy makes the book so good. I heard some comments, people saying exactly the same. And I'm thinking, this goes really well already. So how can it get even better once he goes to the academy?
I felt the same. Like I've said this last week, I was instantly gripped by this book. But I read it as part of a book club book, because I'm part of a fantasy book club at Waterstones in Leamington. And everybody most people loved it. It scored so highly in our book club, and books never do because they're never like universally popular. There was 2 people out of about 20 that didn't like it. And the question was, did you make it to the academy? Did you get to the academy? Because that's when it gets really good. So I think I've just like got it in my head that that's when everybody was hooked. But I was hooked immediately. I was intrigued by the sapper at the prison. I was intrigued by the game, the foundation game that Vis was playing right at the beginning. I was intrigued by the Quintus. I was intrigued by the fighting ring. I loved all of it. So, but I know that everybody says the academy is the best bit, and it really is. Just doesn't mean that the other bits aren't good. So you heard me say this already, but the reread is really hitting. I'm picking up so many more details. The audiobook is great, but I realized just how much I didn't pick up in my first, because I listened to it the first time exclusively. And now that I'm reading it as well, the physical copy, I'm picking up so much more stuff. And I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, definitely the audiobook is really good, but for me specific and this one, I need to support with the physical book. I need to read it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the only way that actually I can picture it in my mind when I start reading the letters and not just like listening what's going on.
Yeah, and I think so audiobooks always help with fantasy books in like pronouncing names and pronouncing places and spells and magic and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I read them, they're so different to how they sound in the audiobook that I forget them. So I get the names jumbled up now, which is not something that I normally do. But it's quite tricky. Who for you was the MVP, the most valuable player this week?
So I had a few, because I was thinking first Lancia, because I think she plays a really good part in these chapters, because she is now basically V's tutor or mentor in every single aspect, physical and the fighting, and as well and all the stuff that he need to knows. But by the last chapters when we met Esteban, I think he is the one who made these chapters like completely torn.
Well, he changed
everything.
Yeah.
So I'm picking Esteban because now we have like a little bit more of the past of this, a little bit more about how was his life as a prince. We see Esteban treating as a prince as well. So I think that was like really nice, and that this guy who was before working in prison, that he was like an orphan, that he has like nothing, he was like nobody. And then this guy who was the leader of the Angus just treat him as my prince or something like really important to him. And obviously he changed everything for Viz here, because now Viz is somebody that is really important, like it or not.
Yeah, Esteban is such a complex character. He is a terrorist. He's a terrorist. There's no 2 ways about it. And I always think that war is such a complicated thing, and nobody imagines that they're on the wrong side of the war.
Yes,
because you fight for something that you believe in. His speech, and I want to talk about that like later, was really, really chilling for me, because it was equally kind of horrific, heinous, as it was kind of standing against the system and rebellious and things. And it just shows how complex this topic is. And it is not just in a fantasy world, it's in real life. It's happening all over the world. And Esteban genuinely believes that what he's doing is the right thing. It is absolutely not the right way to go about it. And there's no way that you can justify his crimes. It stuck with me. And this is what made The Will of the Many. For the first time, I realized this was going to be a book that changed my perception of the world. And that for me is like a properly, like, I don't like the star rating system, but that's a 6-star book when it changes the way that you think about life or the way that you think about something. Some people will be like, oh man, it's not that deep. It really is deep. That speech is chilling. So for me, I did choose Lanistia mainly because, so I agree with you that Esteban changed everything. But the thing that Lanistia unlocked for me was not only some backstory, and we kind of hail different authors for how they get the history in or how they get the world building in. Some of it is through the main character's knowledge. This is obviously quite an intelligent person, but James Islington brings some of that through Lanistia's testing him. So she's asking him questions, he's giving her answers. So we learn more about the will. We learn more about the fact that the maze things can be will locked, and we learned some of that in the transvect, but Lanistia opens up some more knowledge. She also hands Vis a big slice of humble pie. She's not pandering to him. She's not telling him he's good. She's telling him he's lacking. She really cares. And we obviously learn that's because she was basically in love with Zero, who is Ulkiskor's brother, who died at the academy. And she's really invested in this. She also lost her eyes. And the fact that we learn that she is sending basically pulses of will out 200 times a second, and she can see all around her. So she's building this 3D image rendering in her head. She's incredibly powerful, and it just shows the scope of what will can do. And it's not just an engineering tool or a medical device. It's an architectural tool. It's like just can do so much with will. It's really cool. I do want to talk about Vis, though.
Okay.
I have so much to say. So with Vis, we see his weaknesses in these chapters, and I really, really like it. So for all his strength and his bravery, he does make mistakes. Like, he fell out of the window when he was escaping the room because he wanted to go and eavesdrop on Lanistia and Ulkiskor. He falls out of the window. There is no need for James Islington to have done that because it doesn't change. He doesn't get caught. Nobody hears him. He could have just slipped down and made it fine. But James Islington clearly wanted to show that he wasn't, that it was a believable character. He wasn't all strong. He was injured. He was obviously going to struggle. He was also kind of making a note that Ulkiskor's cottage isn't held up by will. It's quite an old traditional building, and all the sandstone is worn away. So there was no plot device. It wasn't a plot device that he fell out the window, but it just showed that he isn't perfect. And in these chapters, you saw that with the training montage and Lanistia getting the better of him, and him he hated it because he's really proud, but it's still, I just thought it was a really great character build. So we learn a lot about Vis, and he's not a perfect main character. He has got a long way to go before he is ready for the academy, or he could just kill the leader of the rebellion and then it'll all be fine. So were there any Vec or Rotting Gods moments or key talking points you wanted to go through today?
Oh yeah, definitely the main one for me was Sian killing thousands of people all by himself, plus obviously that speech as well.
Shall we read the speech?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Right, I've got it here. People of Caten, my name is Arturus Melior Leos. I am the leader of the group you know as the Anguis, who fight for a better world than the one you have created. And let there be no mistake, it is you, all of you, who are responsible for creating it, not those in power, not the ones who wield what you give them, because you give it to them. You let them stand on your shoulders, all for the dream of one day being able to stand atop others, even when you know deep down that it is an illusion. It's unattainable for most of you, as it is selfish. A pyramid's strength is in its foundation, not its peak. So I have come here today to judge. I have come to bring a reckoning for your decisions, your weakness, your blindness and cowardice and complicity. Hail now, Macarai, honor and glory. I am sorry that you have been sacrificed upon the altar of distraction. I am sorry that your fellow man has failed you so deeply. Today I offer you release from this degradation. I offer you a way out. But when you go, do not forget how you got here or who is responsible for it. Seek us once you are free. Join the anguish. Ugh. So much here. It's like a commentary on capitalism. Mm-hmm. It's a commentary on like we work, the minions work for the big fat cats that line their pockets and they get more powerful and we are part of the problem because we're just part of the system. And it's gaslighting at its peak. He is gaslighting them into thinking they are the problem when really it is those in power that are like leeching the few. But the one thing he does say, which is true, is a pyramid's strength is in its foundations. And there is something to be said for that. Like, if enough people take a stand, this is not the right way to take a stand, blowing people up in what is essentially a festival. It is an act of terrorism. There's nothing you can say other than that. It just is such a good speech. I mean, it's a terrible speech, but it's also so chilling, isn't it?
I really like is the part when he said the pyramid strengths and the foundations and the peak, because basically he's telling yes, there are people with a lot of power, but was all of you the one who given that power? And you should do something to take that power back. So when he says okay, people not doing it because always there's an excuse. People always say, if I don't do it, then they will kill me, or they will do this, so I had to do this for them. He said that there's always like a way to just break those rules that have been put in for the people. And if they're not doing this against them, then they're helping this power to keep going there, keep growing.
So there's two things, isn't there? That like, yes, that's all true. But those in power who are, some of them will be doing it because they believe they are making a better world. Because they are creating infrastructure and there's loads of taxes and things, aren't there, for unmarried, people without children. They're trying to grow the population because obviously they want more power. Some will be doing it for more power, and it's like the big Ponzi scheme where you just get more power from people and then you get paid more. Some of them will be doing it out of fear. Some of them will be doing it because they believe that these people they trust these people and they are using their power to create the infrastructure. And there'll be a load of different motivations. If they were not ceding, the hierarchy would find a way to force people to cede. So I don't think that, I mean, if enough people take a stand, like he wiped out a lot of pyramids, and you can see, Kiskor explains, doesn't he, that his pyramid wasn't very impacted, but other people's pyramids were massively impacted. There could be a reason for that. We don't know yet. But I feel like they would just force people to sappers. They would just create more sappers to get more power if people didn't willingly cede their will. So there's this big illusion of progress and things to see when they're ceding their will.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the biggest problem. There's always this illusion that maybe if you work harder enough, or if you follow the rules, you can carry on climbing the pyramid.
Yeah, it's the American dream.
Yes, and then obviously there's some people, for example, the Octavi, or even the one that are not even there. For them, the expectation that they will climb in that is basically like winning the lottery ticket. Because the only way that it could happen is if somebody from the top goes just there to adopt one of them, like the children, for example. That's exactly what happened to this. But that's not going to happen to every single one of them. It will be just a really lucky ones.
Yeah. And we don't know how people get promoted. Do they recruit people, or we don't have that information. We only have it feels like you're given a position of power, and there's this academy obviously of the elite, and you if you're born into the right family. If you do, you still have to do well in that place, but you still come out with a reasonable, well, with sextus or above.
So that was like a really important thing in these chapters.
Can you imagine it in the movie? It's going to be awful. That's what's going to make this movie like rated 18 or above, surely.
Oh, yeah.
It depends how graphic they go. They could just like blow up the stands and have lots of people screaming.
Yeah, no showing like physically people just exploding.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
But it's going to be pretty impressive, the whole thing, isn't it? And the Naumachia, I just hope they do the whole scenery and the scale of this place justice. It's a mile wide either side.
Yeah.
I was never meant to love a human. But then, I saw her. I wasn't supposed to touch that fruit, but I took it, and I ate it. I was the most loyal of angels, until I lost her. Now they call me the devil, and I'll burn heaven itself before I lose her again.
Memoirs of Luzbel, a dark fantasy novel. Book 1 of the Luzbel saga. Now available on Amazon.
The next part, it really impressed me, or maybe say like fuck.
Writing God.
Yes, was just a few pages after that speech, and was when basically Esteban forced Viz to kill him. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. And when I was reading that, I felt like, oh, that's a shame, because I thought maybe between those two it would come like a really good relationship. I would like to see more stuff about the past of this. But it was really quick. So one chapter we met this guy. He came with this massive entrance, killing thousands of people, and then gone. And that is something that I need to talk later in detail about it.
Interesting.
Yes. What about you?
I've got some questions for you before I say what jumped out in the reread.
Okay.
What did you think of the maze that they managed to build in secret? The training maze.
I really had like at the beginning a little bit of issues, like picturing all of this. But once I started to like understand what he was doing then, I was like, gosh, that looks like really complicated.
Yes.
Everything that he's doing there.
So he's got to move. So there's people in the maze and there's stones, and you have to move the stones while somebody is trying to get through the maze.
Yeah.
And there is the only other one that exists is at the academy. It's a good way of practicing and training. And if religion found out they'd built it, he would be in a lot of trouble.
Well, of course, they're cheating, basically, because he's not supposed to see or know anything like this.
Yeah. I just love that. And obviously that comes back.
Yes. I can't wait to see that first training for him when officially he's doing this for the first time. Like, if he's going to just trying to be bad on purpose, like maybe comparing with other ones, he's just trying to go lower, or if he's going to just show off and then everyone's going to be like, gosh, how this guy is doing this, because it's really complicated. I feel like hard to believe that he will show off, because he's the kind of guy that he's always like measuring everything that he's doing. He doesn't want to stand up. He wants to just go like flying low, how you say it, like low rather, or...
Yeah, but you've got to remember that the things that you know so far is that they have different classes at the academy, and you have to work up. And the higher you finish, like if you finish in the top group, the better the position you will have. He has got a whole term less than everybody else to get to the top. So if you kind of put the dots together, he can't really he can't rest on his laurels. He's going to have to get a move on. So yeah, it's cool. What did you think about Lannistia's eyes?
Lot of questions. How she lost the eyes. That is the first one, and then obviously the second one, how she managed to like figure it out if I should do this things with the will, and she will be able to kind of like be aware of what is around her. But in the explanation, that was just like, wow, this girl is something else. Because even this, when he was calculating what she has to do to be able to come with this outcome, he went really low. And for him, well, like, if she can do that, that will be like incredible. But then she can like, no, do even way more than that. So it's just amazing. But I had the question like, how she lost the eyes? Was an accident, something that she shouldn't see, or something to prevent that she can see, something that she can recognize, or was somebody else doing it?
You will find out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to keep my mouth closed. Like I said, I feel like Lenistia unlocks a load more knowledge, and what she does with her eyes is amazing. I also love, and this is something I'm really noticing in the reread, is the limits that people have with the will. Obviously, the higher up the pyramid you are, the more will you have and the more you can do with it. But Lenistia shows that she has to weaken herself to fight, to make it fair when she's training Vis. So she lifts up a stone bench, and the only will that she has left is the will that's allowing her to visualize her surroundings. So I love the fact that every single thing seems so well thought out. There's just no plot holes in this magic system that I can find, because then you can't say, oh, well, he wouldn't have won or she wouldn't have won, because she's weakening herself, and it's always a balance, and you only have so much will. It's just super interesting.
Yeah. What about you? Were there any parts that jump out for you in this reread?
Yeah, something that I didn't really pay attention to last time was when Vis climbed out of the window, fell out of the window, he went to eavesdrop on Ulkiskor and Lenistia. They were talking about some blood tests, about more blood tests, looking for infections. They heard that Magnus Quintus Serus was tested, but he wasn't infected. And I don't, this is gonna, like, people who've read this book are gonna be like, what, didn't you pay attention the first time? But I don't remember the resolution, so I'm really excited to be like, oh, what's this? Is it to do with, like, similar to this, some people are resistant to the will, they have resistance, and we'll find out all about it. And the hierarchy are trying to get to the bottom of it, because these people are not affected. They don't seed, and they don't. So I'm really looking forward to that. And it seems like, if that's a spoiler for later, I'm sorry, but I can't remember. So I don't think it is. Another one, Cadmos talking, when Ulkiskor arrived with Vis, he kind of just has verbal diarrhea. He comes back and he's like, how are you? And he's like, well, apart from this and apart from all this going wrong and everything else is going wrong, I'm fine. One of the things he said goes wrong is that olive crops have been hit by a strange rot. And that was like, what's the rot? I don't know if it's because we've just finished reading Brimstone. But,
it came to this book.
Yeah, the rot has now like come through to this realm as well. I just feel like there's more to that, and I can't remember that being resolved in The Will of the Many. And I did say to my mum, I was like, does this get resolved? Because she's read it as well, and my mum was like, I don't think so. So either we're both completely,
it's not obvious.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So those things were interesting. We learn more about Equa later. Obviously, she is at the academy. She is a key part of the story. So rereading the bits with Equa were interesting from the perspective of obviously knowing more about Equa later. I'm not going to say too much about it, but James Islington, and like, this is just a standard thing you expect from authors, but you don't always get it. Such character consistency, like personality is the same. And you're like, yeah, she would have said that. And that is the type of person Equa is. And so you just get really solid character build, like really strong characters. Yeah, I'm at the point where I'm starting to like really appreciate his writing style and the way that he explains things. And some of it's not spoon feeding. So you're not told everything, but you're given enough clues to work it out. And yeah, I just really enjoy his writing style. Also, something really funny, the fact that Olga Skor didn't mention to his wife that he's adopted a 17-year-old. That made me laugh so much. I was like, just going to drop that bombshell.
Yeah. I mean, I think he said they talking about the idea. So he might say, oh, well, we talk about it. So now, surprise.
What do you think her reaction's going to be when she finds out?
Just a good typical, what the fuck?
I can't wait for you to see that moment. Like, I can't wait. It's so good.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to be introducing before, or maybe she will just arrive there. Olga Skor is not going to be there, and then she's going to be, who are you? And then she's like, the new master of the house.
All I can say is it's going to be better than you can even imagine. Okay. That whole sequence.
Low expectations now.
Thanks. Yeah, it's going to be... Well, the whole thing, I can't stop talking about this book. I thought it was interesting. I've mentioned this briefly already, that we find out that there's taxes for unmarried citizens. There's incentives to have children. The hierarchy really are going all in, and they're like multiply, 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 because obviously they want to cede the power from more people, but also they're just, it's a mark of like civilization spread, isn't it?
Yes. I remember that when I was reading this, get this like news about China increasing their tax about condoms because they really want people to having children.
Yeah, because they've had one-child policy for years, haven't they?
Yes. And now they're struggling because of that. So I was like, okay, so this one is kind of like doing the same. Incentivizing in a bad way to everyone have children.
Yeah. That's a terrible policy, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's not just to prevent to have children, it's to prevent having other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, gosh, surely there's better ways of doing it than that.
Yes.
Also, I guess one more thing to talk about, and that is the level of fear that people get from people above them. So when this guy from the Senate turns up, and he is lower than them, well, yeah, he's lower than what you would expect the son of Quintus to be, and obviously Lanistia is a sextus. This guy turns up to test Vis, to give him a physical and test his blood, and Lanistia is visibly shaken, isn't she? She's like scared of this guy. And then when the Quartus comes, Equa's dad comes to speak to him, she kind of keeps herself out of the way. And I know the book series is called The Hierarchy, but it is so hierarchical. That's not the stupidest thing I could say. But yeah, there's like a level of fear, and it doesn't matter how high up you are in the pyramid, there's somebody higher. And well, apart from if you're at the top, obviously. Is there anything you're struggling with?
Yes. So, in this massacre by Stefan, when it started to just blow out all people, I was thinking that normally when you get power, everything started from the sappers. So I don't know if I don't have like completely secure the rules about how this works, but doesn't mean then they had their own supper when they can start with this like pyramid or giving will to a specific person. Or once you start, you're able to see your will, you can just choose whatever who you want to do it, and they just pass it to that person. Like in this case, all the Angus they are fighting pass part of the will to Esteban to be this powerful.
No. So as I understand it, the Octavi do not receive any will from anybody. You can see that in the bit that we just referred to. So the Sappers aren't the start of everything. The Octavi are the start of everything. So the Octavi give their will to the Septimus. The Septimi, if you're talking about multiple, give their will to the Sexti. The Sexti give their will to the Quinti. The Quinti give it to the Quarti, etc. And it goes up. The Sappers are additional. So for anyone that rebels against the hierarchy and does not want to cede, they are essentially forced to, because they're useless. They're considered to be useless because they won't work the land, they won't work as staff for the hierarchy, so they might as well, but they don't want to kill them because then they're losing the will, so they might as well hook them up to a sapper, which literally is a fate worse than death. And then that will is additional. And that's additional
Okay.
will that goes to the Aurora Columni or whatever that word is that we're going to get corrected in the comments on. I believe that the Anguis must have their own pyramid, which is outside of the three.
Mhm.
Estevan would be on top of it, and Sedocia must be just below him. But so they are seeding, but I don't think they don't have the full 40,000 people that the princeps would have in the pyramids.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like they will have their own pyramid because they've started seeding with each other and they're using will. That's how I understand it anyway. I can't imagine they would have sappers because it feels like it's very expensive technology.
Yes.
Well, they might be funded really well.
That's why I was struggling with this, because I wasn't sure if, yes, because they're like a special group, and then maybe they can build their own pyramid and they start to pass power ones to another ones. Or if everything started with the sappers, and then from the sappers goes to, I don't know, Septimons, and then start to just go from there. But
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know if I don't have maybe all the details yet.
Yeah, I
about how
don't
the
think we
magic
do.
works. Yeah.
I do think they have similar technology to the sappers, though, because if you think back to the arrow that they shot Elkiskor with,
Yeah.
it felt similar, didn't it? It sapped him a bit of his power.
I was wondering as well that maybe if it's possible to tell what rank will have Esteban doing that kind of power, just killing that dozen of people all by himself, because we saw Alkiskor killing somebody in similar way, and that was just one. But
I know, but it is very powerful, but I think it's something else. I think it's something to do, could be something to do with the Sian blood or something like that.
what about
I'm
you?
not struggling with anything. I bloody love this book.
Simple as that.
Yeah. In fact, I'm loving it even more in the reread. I'm just seeing how solid it is. There are no plot holes that I can see, and I'm really good at finding plot holes. So, do you have any more questions before we move on?
No, I think that's it. So far, so good.
Yeah, it was such a good chunk of chapters.
Yes.
And it's only going to get better. In fact, I want to start reading immediately, but I have got some of Assassin's Blade to finish reading. Okay, so let's move on to the Will of the Maybe. This is the part of the show where we will lock in JC's predictions for the rest of the book, and possibly mine for future books and the bits I can't remember of this book, in the hope that we get at least something right by the end of the series. So what are your big predictions for this week?
So my first one is the Equa will be an important friend for Fizz and the Academy. I think there's a reason that he met her before and all of this. He basically saved her life, and I think now she will be interested first to be kind of like a friend of this big national hero, and then to start to see a little bit more about him. I don't know if it's going to be because her dad is going to tell her, keep an eye on him, but I think this is going to be the beginning of a really good friendship.
Interesting.
Yes. My next one is there was a part when Equa was talking about as far as she knows, there's no other brothers or siblings that she can have. And I don't know why, but I think that is going to be just foreshadowing that she will find out that her father has a son somewhere else.
Legitimate son. I like this theory. I could get on board with that.
Yes. I don't know if by the end of this book or the next one, that is something that I guess eventually time will say if I'm right or totally wrong. Then Alkiskor brother, I don't believe that he killed himself. But at the same time, I don't know why. I started to think that maybe Viridius didn't kill him either. So there's still some pieces that are still not clear. But I think it will be a good plot twist if all the time we are thinking that it's Viridius, the bad guy, the one who killed him. And then maybe we'll find out that Viridius is maybe another victim for something even worse of this.
So you think he died in a different way?
So definitely he was killed, but
okay.
not by Viridius. So I don't think that he commit any suicide.
Okay.
He was killed.
We're in
yes.
dangerous territory. I'm not saying anything.
Okay. Next one, and this one is gonna be a funny one. Oh, I don't know. But like I said before, that way that Esteban died, I found that a little bit suspicious. First, because this warned him that the hurricane is trying to like catch him, and they're like getting close. He didn't say anything about it, but I think there was maybe some suspicious about it. Then, when Viz went to this island where he was expecting him. He knew that he would come for him. It was like he was putting
It was
into
all
the
planned.
test.
It was
Yes.
all planned.
And then he grabs himself the dagger. He kills himself. So obviously what he's doing here is, first, Viz is a national hero now. So everyone's going to love him, which is going to make everything better for him in the academy. Because in the academy, they just want like the best of the best. And also, now everyone thinks that leader of the Angus is dead. And this is something that for Steban, it will obviously, if he's alive, it will be something good for him. Because
How did he survive? Slit
mean-
throat and then thrown into the water.
will. He has lots of will. He was killing thousands of people
Okay.
with will.
Okay.
And there was a part when Alkiskor, he got hurt as well. There was like a stab or something. But he was not affected because of will. He was doing this thing with will. So I think that yes, he stabbed himself, the dagger went to the brain, but because the will that he has, it will keep it alive. And that's the reason that he goes into the water, the body disappears, there's no body. The body always comes back.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. Okay. I'll just let you just run with that one.
Okay.
Next.
So in this chapter, there are more references as well about the Viz not being affected by the will. And right now, I'm not sure if it's just because it's something related to his blood type. And maybe that was one of the reasons that all the royal family was killed. Or was because his father did something to him, like a ceremony or something to protect him against the will when he was little. But I think that yes, it's something there. It's pretty clear that there's a reason. But the explanation, I'm still not sure if it's going to be just something unique that Viz has or it's part of the royal family.
But I also don't think Viz knows. I think that's something that we're all going to find out together.
Yes, that's what I said. If it was like, I don't know, a religious thing or ceremony or something that the father did was when he was a baby. So obviously we will know anything about this.
Yeah.
And my last one is this guy who went to Alkiskor's house to check on Viz after everything happens, Gaius. He was analyzing Viz's blood, and I think that he will notice there's something strange on the blood, and this will come back later. These are all my predictions.
Interesting.
We'll see what happened?
Yeah. Okay. So sticking with the theme of precognition, shall we look at the chapters we're going to cover next week?
So for next week, we're going to be with chapters 24 to 35.
Yes. And that will take us well into part 2.
Yeah.
So let's go sapping for secrets. This is the part of the show where we pose ourselves a question and sap deep into our will for the answers. Unlike our main man, Viz, we are not immune to the sapper. There's no dodging, no scheming, just the truth. So last week, we asked Viz chose to strip to his birthday suit at Fight Club. If you were forced into a fight you didn't sign up for, what would be your go-to strategy?
I think that's a really good strategy. Like, just maybe do something crazy.
What if he, yanked it? That would be painful. Surely you'd want a bit of protection.
Yes. Well, that would be first part of my strategy. The second one, it will be just a good classic bullshitter. So I start just pretending that I'm stronger than I am or that I know more than I know. And see
Yeah.
if that makes something. What about you? What would you do?
Pepper spray.
Oh, come on. You have...
That's it. I'd have to just kick him in the balls and run away. That would be, I have no chance. So it probably is run away.
Yeah.
That would be my go-to strategy. But I probably wouldn't run away fast enough either. I'm not backing myself here to win any fights. I'd need to I did learn once at self-defense that if you push really hard in somebody's throat, just in the lump, just above, it doesn't hurt them, but it makes them go away. That's the thing. And I've got quite long nails, so not good.
Actually, if you just given a hit there, you won't kill it, but the person will be coughing and struggling for a little bit.
Enough to run away.
Yes.
And I'd make as much noise as I could.
Actually, I will advise you, if you had to choose between hit somebody in the neck or in the balls, if as a man, go in the neck. Yes.
Oh, okay. Is that because you're worried that I'm going to do it to you?
That's because I'm protecting mankind balls. No,
somebody else attacking me?
No,
Would
honestly.
you honestly prefer to be kicked in the balls than hit in the neck?
Yes.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because
I'm going to start a poll. We need to do a poll for the men.
a hit in the balls, yes, it will hurt. Not always it will stop you. Has to be something really bad, to keep you on the floor, you
Why
got to
do
die.
men act like such a wimp? Yeah, but the neck does stop. That's what they said. So there's a load of moves where you elbow in the stomach, hit up on the nose. But the most effective, if you're attacked in the street, the most effective thing for a woman to do, because you're unlikely to be able to overpower a man. I mean, obviously there are women that can do, but most women are unlikely to be able to overpower with punches alone or hits. So the advice was that you just find that lump just where the collarbone is and push down with a finger, and it will make it's an involuntary motion. You can't resist it. You have to move.
I wouldn't say just trying to find the spot and push, because I think it's just too much.
No, but
just
it's anywhere
hit.
Yeah.
You get I don't know, with your hand open.
Karate chop in the words of our 5-year-old.
And then, yes, you will be struggling for a little bit. And by the time that maybe you can recover, you will go far gone.
Okay, well, this was an education.
Yes. Hopefully that will help to our listeners as well.
Yes. This week, Ulcer Scott doesn't seem to think it's important to tell his wife he's adopted a son. What is the biggest surprise you've ever given someone, or that someone has given you? It can be good or bad.
The biggest one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. We would like to know the answer in the comments. So have a think yourselves and let us know in the comments what the biggest surprise you've given. Also interested in any self-defense tips, because I wasn't foreseeing that this podcast would become a self-defense tutorial, but I think we could now market it as one. And that's all we've got time for this week. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Faithfully Fantasy Pod. Come and join the conversation. We'd love to hear if you're reading along. So if you've got thoughts, send them our way.
And with this, we had just one more thing to say. Thank you for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things the will of the many.
We'll see you next week for our read-along of chapters 24 to 35, and of course, for more Faithfully Fantasy.
Bye.